I'm off on my motorbiking travels again, this time to one of my favourite and often most frustrating places in the world, Eastern Europe. It's October, we've left it a bit late for the weather, but I feel I must experience this amazing route one more time before the tide of Western capitalism takes over completely. As always, I'm joined by my cameraman Steve and ever-faithful sound recordist Sean, who as well as a foil or often cause of my ever-changing moods, is as usual guiding us on our journey. We're riding some 2,000 kilometres from eastern Germany to Poland, back to the Czech Republic, across Slovakia and into Hungary, and journey's end, the stunning city of Budapest. This is the story of riding a motorcycle and every emotion that I possess to complete one of the strangest yet most fascinating motorcycle rides. Welcome to Riding Eastern Europe. So we're well into our Eastern European pilgrimage aboard my MZ-1000 and have just left the delights of East Germany behind, crossing the border at Gorlitz into Poland. The weather continues to be unseasonally amazing and the roads are treacherous and busy yet inspiring. As we make our first stop for petrol, our sights are set on our destination in Poland, the city of Wrocław. Well, we're in Poland. Fantastic. Wrocław's about 150 kilometres away. No worries at the border, but we didn't really want to film there, only because it might delay our progress. The Polish still have their zlotys, but also you can use euros, I'm told. Best thing then, to use a credit card. Okay, in theory, entering a new country is fine until you try and interact, and Sean gets involved. It's just a nightmare. Can't speak any of the language, don't know what currency I'm paying in, and Sean's now decided to fill up the van, or the bloke is, so I thought I paid for both, but I haven't. I've learnt one word in Polish now. Dziękuję. It's thanks. So that'll do. I just need to know, Bill, please. And can you lock Sean up in a small box? Do you know what? I'm sorry we didn't film the border crossing. You know, Sean's got his cigarette on, do you know what I mean? You know, round the guards and stubbing it out on the forecourt, you know, and they're going, what's that? As if it's some marijuana or something. He has no idea of etiquette, and that's the thing that f***s me off about him. Smoking your fag, do you know what I mean?
What?
Stubbing it out, they go, what's that?
No, I was asking him to put it.
No, you weren't.
I was being polite. Unlike you, that was just sat there with your grumpy.
I wasn't grumpy, mate.
She
It
was.
was just, you know,
That poor girl that came up to you, she just wanted to spread her word.
she was a dog.
You shot
she
her
was-
down.
she-
You
Okay,
shot
all right.
her down.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry to sit here, so I'll tell you in retrospect, okay, but we met this god-bothering fool of a woman, okay, who, in the middle of a customs mini-crisis, yeah, mainly because we arrived with a camera on the roof, look, there, like that, you know, she decides to give it the full two-egg on about whether God exists or not, and basically I arrived at the checkpoint as what I thought to be quite a decent person, and I've left as an adulterer, a soul murderer, wasn't I? I obviously had thieved in my life, and what else had I done? Thieved, and I was a liar. So all in all, I've left here. I've got to repent. What? I'm just a nice bloke. Unlike you, Timmy Woo. So at last, back in the saddle. You know, I'm happy anywhere riding me bike. What is it about motorcycling that becomes so addictive? It's a mixture of the feeling of freedom and solitude, with the added bonus, I think, of being able to frighten yourself whenever you fancy it. And also, you don't have to talk to anyone, especially Sean. Now that is a relief. Just as I go into my own little world on the road to Roclaw, I spy the weirdest sight. A couple of MiG fighters in a field. That's amazing. I've got to stop and have a look. These kind of sights you don't see in the West. Check out those fighter planes. Relics of a communist time. To me, I think it's crazy that they've got these jets just basically decomposing here. God knows what I'm going to find in one of those caravans. Too scared to go in. I'm not sure you go and not. How these jets got here is a mystery. There isn't even an airfield nearby. Why would someone just dump these in a field, complete with a tractor to tow them? This is Eastern Europe for you. Relics of an age when Poland was occupied by a superpower that the Western world was terrified of. I wonder how much the West spent protecting us from these monsters. Now they're literally pushing up daisies in a lay-by on the main road to Roclaw. How times have changed, hopefully for the better. There's a dog over there, actually. I don't know how safe this could be. He looks pretty placid at the moment. I hope he's on a lead. Perhaps we should leave. Well, we're about 70 kilometres from Roclaw, and after some 10 clicks on the A road, we found our way onto the A4 motorway, which is frustratingly single lane, basically all the way in. So my hopes are dashed of a bit of a blast. Instead, it's more like a trundle. Consequently, we're late into Roclaw, and as normal, haven't got a clue where we're going. Well, Roclaw, here we are. God, that was a bit of a nightmare, actually. It's getting dark, and coming into a city that you don't know, following Shawnee and Steve, it was all a bit tricky. Also, with all the cobbles and the tram lines and all the cars flying everywhere, made for really quite difficult driving. But you know what? Even at my venerable age, you learn something. And that is, when you come into somewhere that you don't know, you've got to be a bit aggressive. But if the road surface is just all slippery and cobbly and tram-lining, just go for it and ride this thing like a motocross bike. Well, anyway, that has got me here safely, I suppose. God, I could do with a shower and a bath. Oh yes, bit of a well-earned kip, then a tour of Roclaw. Excellent. See you in a mo. So, if you've just joined us, we're in Wrocław in Poland, and it's yet another divine day. And as I've got a day off from riding my steed, it's time to relax and wander around this ancient city. Well, welcome to Wrocław. Now, Wrocław is the furthest east we're going to go, and it is the Venice of Poland. There's water everywhere, there's 112 bridges, and there isn't a cornetto in sight. My first impressions of this place is it's glorious, nothing like I imagined Poland to be. Stunning vistas round every corner, steeped in history, and busy, yet not oppressive. I guess I'm seeing it on a beautiful autumnal day though. Might be slightly different in February at -something. That's lovely in the main square of Wrocław. But it's not called Wrocław or Wrocław, okay? It's called, now Sean's written it down here, it's called Wrocław. Wrocław. Is that right? Yeah. Wrocław. So it's not called Wrocław, even though it's spelt like that. It's called Wrocław. Now, I've got my little essential phrases here, so I'm going to give you a quick lesson. All right. Yes is tak. Please is procesh. No, that's wrong. Procesh. Well, that was like the last one, really. Hello is Czeshish. It's very complex, actually. That's okay, which is obviously a quintessential name to know, or a little phrase to know, is Toy Jest Okay. Generally, that means I'm fluent. Well, Wrocław, or Wrocław as I still call it, was heavily bombed, obviously, in the Second World War. And this is Rynek Square, and it's been totally restored. All the beautiful Gothic and medieval architecture has been sort of restored to its former glory. And if it's cafe society you're after, sitting around in the beautiful sunshine, just people watching, then this is the place to be. Oh, it's lovely to be off the bike. Rynek Square is absolutely vast, with literally hundreds of cafes, and right next door to it is another square called Salt Square, which is a flower market. Salt Square is a must. The colours and bustle are synonymous with everything to do with this city. It's the fourth largest city in Poland and is known as the centre of culture. There's something about the iridescent colours of the flower market that weirdly sum up the mixture of creativity, tradition and modernity of this fab city. The stallholders here tell me that you should never offer flowers in an even number and never leave the wrapping on. Otherwise, in Poland, it's considered impolite. So now you know if you're courting a Polish lady or lad for that matter. Almost time for lunch. Everything here, as regards food, is still very basic, or you call it basic, or you could call it traditional. The other thing is that there's no real kind of sort of Western finesse, if you see what I mean. I mean, I had a Diet Coke and there's no ice or there's no lemon in it, or it was never filled up to the top. So I've ordered me beef steak on a skewer, and let's see if it's any good. Well, I've waited about 3/4 of an hour for this, so let's have a quick taste. Oh, and there's lots of coriander, which I absolutely hate. Tastes good though, and it's pretty cheap, and as you can see, a lot of it. But if you're after a mozzarella salad or a salad niçoise or something like that, forget it. Wrocław never fails to amaze. What better than walk off me steak with a little sightseeing tour of my very own down by the river. I've got to say, Wrocław is absolutely divine. On the one side of the river here is the centre of town, and it's vibrant, and there's restaurants and there's cafes and there's a lot going on. But you can just half a mile away come and take a walk down the river on this side and just take in the views and just chill out. It is also a university town, so it's sort of got this whole air of sort of energy and youth, which makes a sad old man like me feel alive. I can't recommend this city enough. I've always had my doubts about Poland, but the new Poland is something very different to when I was last here back in the early 90s. Come here to Wrocław and you'll have a ball. Whether you love the sublime architecture, the culture, or just the restaurants, you won't be disappointed. All that's left now for me to do is to sample the nightlife. Wrocław's nightlife again centres round Rynek Square. Dinner in one of the city's most famous restaurants seems favourite. Now, as we've seen today, Wrocław has a myriad of restaurants, but the best one and the most interesting, especially at night, is this one. Now, it's called, hang on, I've got to get this right, Piwniczka Świdnicka. This place is the oldest restaurant in Europe, and would you believe it's 730 years old? It's had an illustrious career, obviously, as a restaurant, but one of my favourite times was the 60s, okay? Let me just read you from this, okay? In 1960, it became a cinema hall, a coffee shop, an amusement arcade. Part of the hall was dedicated to exhibitions where, amongst other things, poison animals, instruments of torture, and hamsters were exhibited. What was the gig with hamsters? Perhaps they found their way onto the menu. Anyway, where's me food? Fantastic. That doesn't look too traditionally Polish, does it? Thanks very much. Typical me, I've gone for the chicken roulade and chips. But they do serve fantastic traditional dishes here. Sean is modelling, with his headphones on. Sean is modelling duck à l'orange? No, duck, red cabbage, and something extraordinary. Well, that just really sums it up, really. You can have your traditional duck, or you can have your blatantly Western chicken roulade and chips. Either way, I think you're well catered for.
The chicken roulade is a triumph, and the ambience is a bit loud, but certainly convivial. Well, it would be rude not to, and Sean has conned me into a bit of a bop. So round the corner is Bazaar Bazaar, a communist nightclub so good they named it twice. Isn't it funny how you get older, you become a complete liability on the dance floor? I've never been able to strut my stuff. Now I'm just an embarrassment. I'm sure this lady here is visually impaired, otherwise she would have run a mile. Anyway, time for bed. It's the long ride to Prague tomorrow. Well, I'm back in the saddle and we're leaving Wrocław behind, which is a real shame, I have to say. We're off doubling back on ourselves, back down to Prague, across the mountains. It's actually great to be back on the bike as I weave my way through Wrocław's suburbia. It's not long, though, before we're out on the open roads and my MZ is burbling along faultlessly as we enter the mountain roads that will lead to the Czech border. The bike does have the odd nasty vibration, though, but sometimes so do I.
Oh, that is just lovely, but freezing cold. And we're finished with Poland by the look of it. This is the Czech border. We're just going to wait for Sean. He's stuck behind a truck down there. And then we'll get across the border and get some lunch.
As we cross the border into the Czech Republic, my tummy's rumbling, and Sean has missed some lovely little restaurants. And as always, we're all getting a bit irritated, and it's this time of day that I love winding Sean up.
Yeah, well, you did pick the worst place, didn't you?
Well, you know,
You missed all of that f***ing place in the village.
yeah, but it's just, you know, like I
Why
said,
did you miss that?
well, because I can't, you know, if Steve's filming, I can't suddenly kind of break. Do you know what I mean? It's just like
We could see
I
it a
need
mile
to-
off.
No, you can't always see it a mile off, though.
Yes, you can.
It doesn't quite work like that, you know. I just stop, you know.
I mean,
Find somewhere where we can, you know.
okay, well, look, right. Sean's pulled in at this place that was obviously closed, in my view. And he missed a village back there that was just lovely. You know, under the auspices that he couldn't brake heavily.
Well, if this was so close, must have been before. Well, you know.
Well, because I'm working, you know, mate, doing a piece of camera and
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
All you have to do is smoke and drive that car. Oh, I do sound, which a monkey could do. That was a false start for lunch. Come on, let's go and find somewhere. Let's go.
Eventually, after a few more restaurants slipped by, we found a little bijou one that might be open. As we amble into the restaurant, little did I know how much anger and frustration Sean had been bottling up.
Henry was talking to these women that he bumped into in the restaurant last night, and I just came up as, you know, doing my job, labelling tapes for this trip so that we don't lose any or anything get lost. And I went to take a pen, and you weren't using it at the time, and you just kind of threw a little pad and get off. Like that.
Sorry, have I lived another life last night? I didn't go off. They wanted to go and corner you and I, right, in a karaoke club, yeah, and then have their way with us. And I was having none of that, Sean.
Well, no, you just kind of snapped at me, and I was, you know, it was just like, well,
Okay, yeah, I snapped you because I'm off with you. I'm not off with you. All I was really chuffed with you this morning because you got us out of Wrocław really well. That's it. Yeah? And then you start, you know, getting all miserable. Yeah? I pull off at the petrol station, fill the bike up, go into the petrol station, you're nearly in tears.
I wasn't nearly in tears, but if I've got a boggle with you, I'm going to say something.
I know you're sensitive, and I'm incredibly sensitive, yeah? Steve's incredibly sensitive. There's 3 sensitive people on this trip, yeah? And we abuse each other verbally all the time, yeah? Okay, that's how we get along.
I've kept up with the spirit of the trip, but sometimes, you know, like it has done to all of us, it gets on the boggle, you know?
I think you're a very nice person. I've always loved you dearly. But you get on my sometimes, I get on your sometimes, and that's just the way it happens. Okay, so we're sorted out, are we?
That's fine.
Well, that was a lovely lunch, actually. I think I've made my peace with Sean. One can get quite emotional on trips like this. Now, this place is one of the most beautiful areas of the Czech Republic. We're about 20 kilometres in from the Polish border into the Czech Republic, and we're only about 70 miles outside Prague. But there is fantastic skiing here. But unlike Austria, it's cheap. So that's a little tip. Come here to the Czech Republic to ski instead of all those posy resorts in Austria, and do it for a quarter of the cost. That means you can come skiing 3 more times in the year. Well, I'm afraid you'll have to wait for more mathematical revelations and the stunning city of Prague till next time on Riding Eastern Europe.